And I love this concept of one more. And like you said, we have been kind of told this thing that everything is way out in the future, and most of us are very hard term on ourselves in the short term, and we don't see what we can accomplish in the long term. And so a lot of people stop from doing that. And so I want to get into this one more concept with you, because what you just said is like kind of blowing my mind and empowering me to like even think bigger as well. And I just want to finish with the parenting thing. Like because of you, I kind of grab my kids and I'm always whispering in their ears, like, I'm so proud of you. And I compliment them in front of their mom. Like, did you see how good Caden is at drawing? Did you see the push-ups that Damon did today? And I'm always like repeating. And like you said, that's what leadership is. It's just continuing to repeat those lessons, because you have to ingrain it in everyone around you, because that's going to help them make that one more time decision in the future.
Can I tell you one thing on that?
Yeah.
That you just did really brilliantly well. I've actually orchestrated it with my wife, but I did it with my dad before he passed away, and my mom as well. The greatest compliments I ever got as a child that I still remember would be my grandfather. He'd come to my Little League games. He was probably making this up, by the way, but he would come to all my baseball games. And after the game, he's a very quiet man, and he would go, I wish you could. I'd go 0 for 4, right? 2 ground outs. He'd go, I wish you could have heard the other parents talking about you. How fast you got down the line on first base on that ground out. They've never seen a kid run that hard. That catch you made in center field, after you made that catch, I wish you could have heard what the other parents were saying about you. Those are the things I remember. It's like the third party compliment, because you're like, wow. So I've told my wife, when I'm not around, you tell him, do you know how proud your father is of you? Do you know how proud daddy is? Do you ever hear how daddy talks about you to other people? I would tell my mom, hey, when Max comes over for lunch, will you just do me a favor for a second? At some point, just say, I don't know if you know how proud your dad is of you. So I wanted them to hear it, not just from me directly, but like the third party part of it. And in business, this matters too, where you create a culture, people go, hey man, I was just in there with the boss, with the big guy. Well, he's raving. He appreciates you. He's raving about you. Those mean even more than a direct compliment. It's getting to hear the indirect one.
Right. All right. So empower that. I remember having a few baseball games like that as well, where I went 0 for 4 in T-ball as well. So we won't get started about that. Let's talk about the book, because the whole premise is this one more. I do want to get at some point into where that came from and the story of your father as well, because I want to get into that because I think it's important. But talk to me about the book and the perspectives that you're trying to give people. You already laid some of it out here as well, as in sometimes we just need to remember that it's that one more, and that we're closer than we think to realizing our dreams. And that's why we have to take that one more shot. Is that the premise of this book?
There is. That's one. There's a little layers to it. The other one is it's a standard. So in your life, you don't always get your goals. In fact, statistically, I have a whole chapter on how to set goals in the book. But even if you did what I teach you in the book, you're going to get 24, 25% of them at best, if they're real goals. But you will always get your standards. Ultimately, in life, we get our standards. And so there's all this, I don't know if I was the first person to say it, I think I am, but people have repeated it now for 10 years in personal development, self-confidence. And they say the way you get self-confidence is you keep the promises you make to yourself. If you don't have self-confidence, you've built a relationship or reputation with yourself where you don't keep the promises. So one way to build baseline confidence is, hey, make your bed in the morning. If you're going to make 10 contacts a day, make it. You're going to drink a gallon of water, drink the gallon of water. Do what you say you're going to do, even if it's small things, and you change the relationship and reputation you have with yourself. And that'll get you to be a confident person. But I don't want to just be a confident person. I want to be able to perform in my life as an average man, which is what I am. I'm average height. I'm average IQ. I'm average in about everything you can imagine, right? But what I'm not average in is my standards anymore. And so what if the standard wasn't that you just kept the promises you made to yourself? But what if the standard was a little higher? And that standard of your life is, I keep the promises I make to myself and one more. And so I'm not just going to make 10 contacts a day. I'm going to make the 10 contacts, keep that promise I made to myself, plus one more. I'm not going to do 10 reps in the bench. I'm going to do 10 plus one more. I'm not doing 30 minutes on the treadmill. I'm doing 30 minutes plus one more. I'm not telling Bella I love her every day. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do it one more time every day. And now when you've raised that standard, a couple things happen. Mathematically, you've increased your odds of winning because you've done more, right? You've spread out the chances of winning and put it in your favor. But 2, you've now set a standard that almost no human being on earth will do consistently. And if you do it, you begin to believe you deserve things most human beings don't deserve in their life. And I transformed myself from a dude who had no confidence, Then I started keeping those promises. I'm like, okay, what's next? I got to do one more. And then the layer behind that is you are truly one of these away from changing your life. Quick story. Just played golf with a dude 3 weeks ago. Bananas story. And this guy wanted to meet me. Guy says, hey, you guys got similar net worths. The guy wants to meet. I get to the first tee, Brian, and he goes, hey, I'm a big fan. Next 5 hours, I'm learning everything about Ed Mylett. I go, no, you're not. That's not how this works, bro. I already know about me. I want to know about you. And he goes, well, mine's quick. I can tell you on the first tee. I said, give it to me. He says, 1986, I loaned $50,000 to a guy. My best friend loaned the same guy 50 grand. A week later, my best friend got cold feet, got his money back. I continued on with the loan. I said, awesome. He said, it turned into $750 million. I said, say that again. You loaned a dude 50 G's. It turned into $750 million 20 years later. Yeah. I said, who the hell did you loan this money to? Jeff Bezos. I said, get out of town. I said, you were really one relationship, one decision, one loan away, totally changed your life. He goes, amen. Now, that's the most extreme example I've ever heard in my life. I don't have any of those, but I have a series of them in my life that stack up about equivalent to his because I believed in this premise.